Hey guys, Rod here at A Better Way to Farm, where we help growers improve yields and increase profitability. We're excited to share with you here on Friday evening. I want to talk a little bit, titled this one, More Tariffs Coming, Good for Who? I have several of you who have quoted back to me now, or one of our standby phrases, which is everything that happens in agriculture is good for someone. The question is, who is it good for? And unfortunately, the grower tends to be the last one. I'm reading from an article here that showed up in my email. I think it's actually put out from the National Corn Growers Association, sent this out. And it talks about some of the things that are going on. Right now, CF Industries has filed a petition. Now bear in mind, CF Industries is one of the major nitrogen producers in the U.S. They have filed a petition with the U.S. International Trade Commission to impose tariffs on nitrogen fertilizer imported from Trinidad, Tobago, and Russia. The U.S. Department of Commerce has since released a preliminary finding recommending tariffs, despite a strong outcry from farm groups. On what planet could they think this is a good idea, other than I bet CF Industries is a big contributor to someone's political pocket? This whole deal is just outrageous. There was a study that was recently done. Some gentleman who was a PhD said that after much study, they figured out that prices tend to go up after corn crop, or when corn revenues go up. Anytime corn revenues increase, that they have found that fertilizer costs go up also. I don't think I needed a PhD to figure that out, neither did you. They're basing it on a percentage of revenue, and we know that. And then also, one of the things that I read, not in this article, but earlier in the week, was everybody's blaming it right now on natural gas. And Texas, I believe it was Texas Tech or Texas A&M one, they ran all the numbers on that, and they figured out that natural gas is accounting for about 15% of the increase in the price of nitrogen. Now, when nitrogen has went up anywhere from 100 to 150% or maybe more, and 15% is due to natural gas, the rest of that would be marginal. I say all these things not to point them out, but I think that it is important that we come up and we talk about what it is that we're going to do. Chris Edgington, who we're going to be interviewing and will be on our podcast here in about 10 days, said that these proposed tariffs will create shortages and drive our costs up even higher. And that is correct. And Chris and I are going to talk about that. He also said this will add insult to injury and impose a financial hardship on family farms. There's no question about that. It's just insane what we're watching happen. So what is our call to action? What is it that we think we need to do? Well, we need to figure out that, be aware of the fact of some of these numbers. For instance, right now, due to the price of increased in nitrogen fertilizer, for the average farm that has 1,000 acres, it's going to increase the cost of production about $86,000. Just the increase in the price of nitrogen. And that's crazy, because when we start looking at what that does to the American farm and to the farm economy, it is not healthy. And so I think it might be time to start getting a hold of our congressmen, getting a hold of our senators, and saying that we don't want the U.S. Department of Commerce to recommend these tariffs, to tell the International Trade Commission, the U.S. International Trade Commission, that we do not want to see tariffs on nitrogen imported. As a matter of fact, we'd like to see the tariffs that are already set up on fertilizer coming in reduced. We have a lot of the producers here, I believe, producing less than what they need to, less than what they can by a long ways, in order to artificially inflate these prices. And then, of course, the foreign companies want to come in and say, hey, you're going to make all that money. We'd like to sell a little bit cheaper than you. And guys, we are in a global economy. A lot of our grain has to go elsewhere, and some of our inputs need to come from somewhere else. I'm all for keeping it American as much as we can. I'm also all for keeping the American farmer in business. And when they're shutting down mines and they're shutting down production plants to increase the price, it might be time to have the government give a hand. So guys, if you feel led, I would encourage you, contact your congressman's office. Call them. Get a hold of your senator. Call them. Let them know, because if enough people reach out and make a difference, then they're going to start paying attention. We've watched this whole deal unfold all through agriculture. We watched the packers of cattle get filthy rich at the expense of the producer. Everyone knows there's collusion in that. I'm hard pressed to think that these fertilizer prices that everybody selling them has to sell for the same price. It would seem odd that they would all arrive at the same number and they would all arrive at the same increase, unless that's based on some kind of conversation that they're having. I think it's unreasonable to think that a 15% cost of production due to natural gas should result in a 150% cost increase in the price of nitrogen. Guys, there are a lot of things here we can't control, but there are things that we can. One of the things we can talk about is just, for instance, that we were talking with Sam Shanks there a while back, and Sam talked about taking his nitrogen from 0.95 pounds per bushel down to 0.75. That's a 0.2 reduction. For every bushel he grows, it takes 0.2 of a pound less. At today's prices, that's at least 20 cents a bushel saving on 250 bushel corn. That amounts to $50 an acre. That's how we can get part of this back, is we have to become more versed in how it is that we don't have to use as much as we used to. And guys, that's something that we talk about extensively in our fundamentals of agronomy training. We would love to have you reach out and say, yeah, hey, I wouldn't mind going and taking a look at that and just hearing what you have to say to see if I could reduce my costs on nitrogen by 20 cents a bushel or $50 an acre. So we know that global shortages, we know that the pandemic, we know that there are a lot of things worldwide that are just driving inputs up. So with that being said, perhaps I could encourage you to swing by the website, abetterwaytofarm.com, because there are 5 things there that we've isolated that we feel can help you reduce your cost of production. Swing on by, take the test. After you take the test, feel free to shoot us an email. Let us know what it is that we can do to help you. We would love to talk to you further about this. If it's of interest, get us a text or a phone call at 641-919-1206, or feel free to reach out with a message right here on the Facebook page. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in on this snowy evening in Iowa, and I hope that you really are having a better day.